We're excited to give you a Source Anti-Trafficking update. Some of you are aware of the Annex Transitional Home that began in 2010, and we're looking to relaunch in June after we've done it for 2 years and had an interim period for the last few months. So Source has been working with homeless youth since 1995, a combination of outreach and having a transitional home. If you work with homeless youth, you're going to be involved with teen prostitution. And so we have had a considerable amount of experience helping individuals make a break from the past and set a foundation for the future. In 2010, we started a home specifically for women that are coming out of trafficking. And we did that after a construction project for a year with 750 volunteers in dozens of different churches. 2012, we opened up the doors. For 2012 and 13, we served 15 different women, including 4 single moms that were coming out of trafficking. We were really excited about it. It was a kickstart season for us. We saw a lot of fruit from that, of women building life skills, of getting reconnected with families, of getting their GEDs and being able to return to a college as well as job training. And it was a very significant season. We were able to do that with caseworkers from another organization and also volunteer caseworkers that the other organization was not able to continue, didn't have the resources to continue with us. So we enter into 2014. We've done a lot of strategic planning organizationally. That our experience is really able to kind of set up a foundation. And now, the beginning of 2014, we're looking to relaunch the Annex program this summer and as early as June. And we need the finances to be able to have our own director as well as our own caseworker. And our relaunch is going to include reopening our transitional home, but then also to have an aspect of outreach, which is a huge gap, as well as continue with our awareness. This is Maria Eddy, and she's been very involved with the Annex and involved with this sex trafficking victims, been with Eden Ministry in China, helped establish their first home in 2003. She's been our volunteer director, giving us 8 hours a week during this season, and our hope is that we're going to have the finances to hire Maria, that she's going to be on staff and be our initial Annex Director, as well as take on that caseworker role for our first season. So Maria, I wanted us to share a little bit about our relaunch and the excitement with that, and let's start with this aspect of outreach. Okay, Source has been involved with different outreach throughout the years. Making contact and gaining trust with marginalized and women traffickers is very significant. So we've had to put some outreach on hold as we've done this, but with the relaunch, what's the plan to see instituted?
To do outreach among the homeless.
So homeless youth?
Yes, and outreach to the women in the sex industry.
Yep.
And advocacy.
And advocacy. And
yeah.
Advocacy is directly working with police.
Yes.
And the idea is, as women are held for 24 to 48 hours, that we'll have teams to be able to initially engage.
Yeah, and share with them and tell them about the Annex and that there are ways out.
So yeah, give them hope with that. So
give them hope for the future. Yeah.
And so a big piece of our teams are going to be consistently be involved.
Yes.
Why is that important?
Especially with to show our presence, to be there, to show that we're real, that we really have a place for them, that we are available for them, and that shows when we go out on outreach and be consistent in that and build relationship and get to know them, and they get to know us, which is very important too, because why would they trust us?
Exactly.
They need to know who we are.
And the reality is women aren't going to trust you initially.
No.
And rapport has to be built up. And the other thing is, as you plant seeds, you never know. We've had situations 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, literally 5 to 10 years later, individuals coming back and say, I'm ready now. Yeah. Even though I was in a terrible situation.
And they can't make the choice maybe at that point.
Exactly. That we're present. So that consistency, being available, accessible is very important.
Yeah.
So we'll have this aspect of outreach where we're going to have teams involved weekly and focusing on victims. Okay, so also relaunching our transitional home. Our transitional home has 3 aspects: safe, affordable housing. Women will have a safe place that they'll be living as they're engaged in this program 40 hours a week. They won't have to pay rent there, so they can focus on building a foundation. So they'll have safe housing. Secondly, we have a life skill program, and thirdly, we have a community that's living with them. So briefly, the life skill program. That's 40 purposeful hours that they're accountable and engaged with.
Yeah.
Tell us what that looks like.
We'll have different aspects. One will be counseling, because many people will need counseling from the experiences they've had. Another area is education. Some of the girls might need to finish their GED or continue college. We'll help them with finding the right spot for that. Another area is job career training, because for many this is the only job they've had, and we want to help them find what their fit is, what would be a good job training or career training. Another area is practical life skills, where people will come alongside to teach them things like how to fix your car, minor things, how to make a menu, go shopping, healthy living, those kind of things. And another area is parenting, because as you mentioned before, we've had single moms at the Annex, and it will help with parenting training.
Oh, excellent.
So those are the 5 areas that we look at.
So we have housing, we have a life skill program that's run by a caseworker that has the resources to keep them accountable. And then thirdly, there's a community that are providing recovery resources, which is a big piece of the Annex vision. Recovery resources being communities of support and encouragement, and also opportunities. So tell us a little bit about the community of residential volunteers and volunteers that will be involved in their lives.
Well, for one, it's very important at this stage to have a healthy community, to have positive role models, positive people in their lives. And this is where the local churches, the volunteers can come alongside and teach some of those practical things that we mentioned before with the life skill training, and to walk alongside them, and in those relationships teach them, maybe somebody's good at cooking, teach them cooking, help them with math, homework, and those kind of things. Yeah,
I know some people don't like the term "it takes a village," but part of the heart of this is that it's not just a couple of staff, but it's the nuclei of a larger congregation that's even cross-generational, meaning usually there's 20-somethings that will live in an apartment across the hall. And then there's women that are maybe 30 to 70, kind of the spiritual mamas from the church that engage once a week with meals and giving them rides. And then there's also, with the spiritual formation, speak into that quickly, like as you part of this is allowing the congregation to give input in a very tactful and respectful way, not forcing their opinions on people, but giving input to the women about God's love and forgiveness.
Well, we don't learn the lessons in life sitting in church or sitting in a classroom. We live it out when we live life, and that's when we model forgiveness. But the girls model it to us too, and it's coming alongside each other and learning from each other life skills. It's very powerful, and along with that aspect of not being, like you said, in the classroom, but the individuals you're sharing meals with and that are serving you and loving you, and having practical displays of that as they're also expressing their faith. Very much. The paradigm of what they thought Christians were, and unfortunately, we have stories of survivors that they remember the church lining up with picket signs outside, the dance club, and that's the vision of the church that they have with that. So again, getting back to, as we think of the relaunch and our excitement of seeing outreach happen at a very significant level, of seeing the transitional home reopen, and a big vision of ours of expansion is that what we're doing isn't just a template in the sense of saying, okay, here's the policy manuals, now someone else go do it, but is having a network of homes that
local churches will sponsor and host where they're providing housing and a ministry team because they have that resource. But then we're providing caseworkers to do the heavy lifting, if you will, of doing placement and running the life skill program and then post-placement and those aspects as well. And so the potential of growth, really, I think we figured out if 0.00357% of churches in America would adapt this, that we could see 1,000 women be able to be placed in an annual year. But thirdly, so we talk a little about outreach, transitional home, but awareness. Source has been doing awareness for, we've done 12 different seminars in the last 4 years. In February of 2014, did one in Gainesville, Florida. We've also are setting up one to do in Hollywood in this fall. And so we're excited about that. But a big aspect of our seminars is also starting to gather, and our seminars aren't about trafficking globally, it's about locally. A combination of what's happening here and then also the lack of opportunities to get out, which is very significant. A lot of people just have this attitude, well, individuals can get out if they want to, and we know that's really a misconception. And so we again, thanks for watching this segment. There's other segments. We wanted to, if you have any more questions about our relaunch, we ask for your prayers. We ask that you would consider supporting financially, that we can see more and more victims be at a place where they can make a break from the past and set a foundation for the future.